Welcome to my channel, where the darkest truths are uncovered, and the stories you hear. Might subscribe this channel. It began on a night that felt no different from any other, deep within the heavily secured structure of the Pentagon, where silence itself feels controlled, measured, and intentional, as if even sound must obey orders. Daniel Hayes, a veteran security officer with over 10 years of service, had grown used to the stillness of those long night shifts, where the only company he had were the quiet hum of machines and the endless grid of surveillance screens flickering in front of him, each one displaying a different corridor, office, or restricted section of the building. Everything was routine, predictable, almost painfully normal, until 2:13 a.m., a time that would later be erased from official records, but never from Daniel's memory. At first, it was just a flicker on one of the monitors, camera D7, something so minor it could have easily been dismissed as a technical glitch, the kind that happens in any electronic system. But Daniel noticed something strange. The flicker wasn't random. It pulsed, almost like a heartbeat, slow and deliberate. He leaned closer, narrowing his eyes, trying to make sense of what he was seeing, and that's when the image stabilized and revealed something impossible. The hallway shown on the screen was longer than it should have been, much longer. According to every blueprint, every training manual, and every walkthrough Daniel had ever done, Sector D7 ended in a dead wall after about 20 meters. But what he was seeing now stretched far beyond that, disappearing into a darkness that the camera's night vision couldn't penetrate. The fluorescent lights overhead flickered in sequence, not randomly, but in a pattern that almost felt intentional, like a signal. And then, at the far end of the corridor, something appeared. At first, it looked like a shadow, tall, thin, motionless. But shadows don't stand on their own. Shadows don't exist without something casting them. Daniel felt a cold sensation creep up his spine as he adjusted the zoom, his fingers trembling slightly despite years of disciplined training. The figure didn't become clearer. Instead, it became wrong. Its proportions didn't match any human form. Its limbs seemed too long, its posture unnatural, as if it were mimicking the idea of standing rather than actually standing. And yet, what disturbed Daniel the most was the feeling, an overwhelming, suffocating sense that whatever he was looking at was aware of him. The rational part of his mind tried to fight back, insisting it was just a glitch, a trick of the camera, maybe even a reflection. But deep down, something older, more instinctive, told him otherwise. Against his better judgment, Daniel made a decision that would haunt him forever. He left the safety of the control room. The walk to Sector D7 was short, familiar, something he had done countless times before, but that night, every step felt heavier, every shadow darker. When he reached the door, he hesitated, his hand hovering over the handle as a strange silence pressed in around him. Then, forcing himself forward, he opened it. The corridor inside looked completely normal, just as it always had. Short, clean, empty. For a moment, Daniel almost laughed at himself, relief washing over him as he stepped inside, convinced it had all been his imagination. But the moment the door clicked shut behind him, everything changed. The air grew colder, thicker, harder to breathe. Daniel turned around instantly, but the door was gone. In its place stretched the same endless hallway he had seen on the screen, the same flickering lights, the same unnatural darkness swallowing the distance. Panic surged through him as he spun back, trying to orient himself, but there was no escape, no exit, only forward and back, both directions equally endless. And then he saw it again, the figure, still standing at the far end, exactly as before, watching. Only now, there was no glass, no screen, no distance separating them. Daniel tried to move, to run, but his body refused to respond, frozen by a fear so intense it felt almost physical, like invisible hands gripping his limbs. His heart pounded violently in his chest as the figure began to move, slowly at first, then with a disturbing fluidity that defied natural motion. Its steps made no sound. Its shape seemed to distort with each movement, stretching and shifting as if it didn't fully belong in this reality. And then, something even worse happened. The lights above didn't just flicker. They synchronized with its movement, each step matched by a pulse of light, as if the hallway itself was responding to its presence. Back in the control room, every monitor froze at exactly 2:13 a.m. No footage was recorded for the next 7 minutes. No alarms were triggered. No one saw what happened, but Daniel experienced every second. He later tried to describe it, though his words never fully made sense, fragmented and broken by trauma. He said the corridor wasn't just a place. It was alive, aware, bending around him. He said the figure didn't just approach him. It studied him, learned him, understood him in ways no human ever could. And just before everything went dark, he heard something, not with his ears, but inside his mind. A voice, or maybe a thought that wasn't his own. It said, "You see me now." When Daniel was found, he was lying just outside the entrance to Sector D7, curled into himself, his uniform damp with sweat, his eyes wide open but unfocused, as if he were still trapped somewhere else. He didn't respond to questions, didn't recognize anyone. The only thing he repeated over and over, in a quiet, trembling whisper, was, "It knows me. It knows me." The official report listed the incident as a psychological breakdown caused by stress. The footage from camera D7 was deleted. The hallway was inspected and declared normal. Case closed. But one detail remained buried in a classified file that was never meant to be seen. During Daniel's final interview, just before he was transferred to a secure medical facility, he said something that no one could explain. Something that changed the entire story. He looked directly at the interrogator, his expression suddenly calm, almost lucid, and said, "It didn't follow me." He paused, his lips slowly curling into something that wasn't quite a smile. "I brought it back." Since that night, there have been other reports, brief, quickly dismissed, of flickering lights in Sector D7, of cameras glitching at exactly 2:13 a.m., of shadows appearing where none should exist. And sometimes, late at night, when the building is quiet and the corridors are empty, security officers claim they see something standing at the far end of the hall, watching, waiting, learning. So the real question is, was Daniel the victim, or just the beginning? If you enjoyed this story, like, subscribe, because the next story might already be watching you.